Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another edition of Dark Power, where, as always, we are covering AEW Dark, Impact Wrestling, and the NWA on the United Wrestling Network. We have 3 shows. We have the celebration of sorts of 1 year of AEW Dark. We're going to get straight to it, but before we do that, guys, make sure you hit the like button. Comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Share us is the most important thing that you can do with your fellow wrestling fans. We love to increase our impact, no pun intended, on the wrestling world and to just get more opinions. That's one thing we love to have is discussion and conversation. So let's get straight to it, guys. Today on AEW Dark, we had a boatload of matches. I think it was 16 matches total. Yeah, something like that. 16 matches total. About 2 hours runtime, incredibly long Dark, but every match kept it moving in that sense because most of the matches were actually rather short despite having 16 of them. So starting us off, we had Shawn Spears going up against Christopher Daniels. They had set this match up a week prior. This was a good match for what it was supposed to be. You get CD in the ring for a decent amount of time, always a good thing to see. The veteran, the behind the scenes guy of Christopher Daniels in the ring, and Shawn Spears is a good talent, a solid hand. This is how you start off a show. Good to see that kind of action, and they kept the story moving forward. The story here being Shawn Spears versus Scorpio Sky. A little bit of 2 guys named, both having names starts with S. The alliteration that's going on here is incredible, and the match that they will have will also be incredible. These are 2 solid people in the ring, and when Spears tries to, after he beats CD, after he tries to put the hands on CD with the slug in the glove, fellow SCU member Scorpio Sky comes out to make the save. That's 2 times now that Spears has had his moment stolen from him. He has been upstaged, as he says it, by Scorpio Sky. After this, we have Brandy Rhodes facing off against Kylan King. A quick match here. Brandy picks up the win. The most important part of this match is actually when John Reynolds from the Dark Order comes out with a Johnny Hungy sign saying that he wants to be on Shot of Brandy. I love that sign. He is a hilarious person if you watch BTE. So having him on a Shot of Brandy, I think, would be pretty good, especially considering the problems that Brandy has had with the Dark Order. Anna Jay. I mean, that would be interesting if he shows up on an episode of Shot of Brandy, if Anna Jay shows up there for any particular reason. I don't know. We'll see what happens. After this, we have Ricky Starks picking up a win over David Ali. Another quick match here. I will say that the only drawback to Starks to me, and Starks is a talent that we've seen back on NWA Powerrr, we've seen him on AEW Dynamite, we've now seen him on Dark a lot. The only drawback to me is his finisher. He has everything else. The Rochambeau is an incredible looking finisher, but how is he going to hit that on somebody much, much larger than him? Most of the people he's been facing have been roughly his size, and it's not that he's a small guy, it's just that could he hit a Rochambeau on Lance Archer? Could he hit a Rochambeau on Luchasaurus? Brian Cage, even if there was a Team Taz split and some kind of feud or program that came out of it. I don't know. Maybe he needs to have something else in the tuck. Maybe that's part of the growth of Ricky Starks. Maybe that's part of the mentorship of Taz, for Taz to say, hey, you can get guys up for that face planner, but the bigger guys, what are we going to do? We got to come up with something. That'll be cool. That would actually be an interesting way to build the character of Ricky Starks after they finish whatever it is they're doing with Darby Allin. Or maybe have him in a match with Will Hobbs where he tries to get Will Hobbs up for the Rochambeau and is unable to do so. After this, we have Scorpio Sky versus Fuego Del Sol. Scorpio picks up a quick win. Here, the story is being continued yet again, where after the match, after the pinfall, Shawn Spears' music plays, does not come out, but it's there to taunt Scorpio and say, hey, you gotta keep your eyes on a swivel, head on a swivel, eyes in the back of your head, all that good stuff, because Shawn Spears can come from out of nowhere and hit you with that slug in the glove. So you got to be paying attention, Scorpio. After this, we have Butcher and Blade picking up a win over the New Hollywood Blondes, Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. So there's going to be a couple. There's going to be some weird sequencing that happens here. They pick up the win. Right after this is Pentagon and QT Marshall. Now, during this match, Eddie Kingston comes out and reveals that he has found Allie and he has reunited Allie the Bunny with the Butcher and the Blade. And now, okay, so this makes sense because she was with QT Marshall. It doesn't make sense because the person facing QT Marshall is Pentagon, and the match directly before this had Butcher and Blade being her husband. I just felt like maybe it would have made more sense if instead of Butcher and Blade up against Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr., if it had been Butcher and Blade versus the Natural Nightmares. You have Dustin, you have QT, you have the tag team. Why not use it? That seemed a little off to me. And then also, Eddie reveals that he found Allie and has reunited her with the Butcher and the Blade, but there's no explanation of why she left, why she was with QT, whether she was just toying with him, what the situation is. Pentagon's able to use the distraction to capitalize and win. Of course, I mean, we kind of go into this match knowing that Pentagon's going to win, but it seemed as though it was a dropped thread, particularly because Allie had been off of TV for some time. Brandy was already looking to do something with Red Velvet, and Brandy herself has never revealed where Allie went or anything like that, like why she hasn't been around. Like she's just, Allie's not here anymore. And that kind of... it's a narrative. I don't want to say plot hole. It's not a plot hole. It's just it's an unexplained event that doesn't make sense with the narrative. And so when they are giving us some explanation, maybe there's going to be more down the road. Maybe this is going to set up some kind of Butcher and Blade Natural Nightmares feud. That's kind of what I thought was going to happen with Butcher and Blade trying to get Allie back from QT in that sense, just not having it happen randomly off screen. After this, we have Jungle Boy picking up a win against KTB. I don't know that much about KTB, but this was, I think, for me, this was kind of like my match of the night. KTB is a beast in this ring, and he can move very quickly, and Jungle Boy can move very quickly, too. So the two of them combined, great showing there. After this, we have Ivelisse and Diamante picking up a win over Kenzie Page, Skylar Moore. Women's tag match, nothing crazy here. Ivelisse and Diamante continuing to be dominant. I'm wondering if they're going to do anything with this. They had them kind of up against Rosa and Karushida, but it didn't really go anywhere in the sense that they had the match. But yes, Rosa's not going to be on AEW all the time, but Ivelisse and Diamante can be, and they're not going after Shida. So, okay, whatever, it's fine. After this, we have Colt Boom Boom Cabana picking up a win over Bishop King. The story of this Dark is, one, the happenings of Scorpio Sky and Shawn Spears, and two, the happenings of the Dark Order, and three, setting up people with the World Title Eliminator Tournament. So earlier we had just had Jungle Boy picking up the win. Now we have Colt Cabana picking up the win, and we're going to continue that trend as we continue through the night. After this, we have Alan Angels picking up a quick win over Adam Priest, and then we have a strong Frankie Kazarian promo where he equates himself to the always the bridesmaid, never the bride when it comes to being a world champion, and that's what he wants to do. He wants to be a world champion. He wants to taste gold in AEW. He's okay with starting off the TNT title, but he wants to go after it. It got me thinking about who would be the first person to get the AEW Triple Crown. You know, if you're thinking about what a Triple Crown is, it's a world title, it's a mid-card title, it's a tag title. So Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky are primed in that they are both former tag titles holders. Cody is a former TNT champion. Brody Lee is a former TNT champion, and Kenny is a former tag team champion, as is Adam Page. If Jericho ever wins the tag titles, then he's also going to be somebody who we're looking at, because it looks like we're going to be getting Kenny versus Moxley sometime down the road, maybe at next year's Revolution. After this, we have Frankie Zarian, after that promo, strong promo, picking up a win over Jack Evans. One thing I will say is that these matches went very quick. They were maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes tops, but then you'd have some matches that went 7 minutes. This is the second longest match of the night, and it kind of, when you have those, it's a little detrimental because when you have quick matches in succession like that, when you get a longer match, a 7-minute match is almost a normal TV time match if this was on TNT or USA Network or whatever. But when it's happening after those quick succession matches, sometimes they feel like they're dragging. And this match to me particularly kind of felt like it was dragging, despite the fact that they moved actually rather quickly. And Jack Evans is a phenomenal opponent to be across the ring with. So, I don't know, something about it just felt a little off to me, but still strong promo work, strong match overall. After this, we have a trios match, Dark Order's 3, 4, and 10 versus Baron Black, Louis Valley, and D3. Dark Order picking up a win here. After this, we have a quick match, 1 minute long match, ended by referee stoppage when Wardlow knocks the hell out of Vinny Pacifico ahead of his first match tomorrow on Dynamite against Jungle Boy. After this, we have the other kind of contender for match of the night for me, Matt Sydal versus Shawn Dean. I've been a proponent, spokesperson for Shawn Dean on AEW Dark. I will continue to do so. He put on a great match here with Matt Sydal. And finally, in the main event, we have Rey Fenix versus Sonny Kiss. Now, when this was taped, they didn't anticipate having to switch out Joey Janela for Sonny Kiss in the World Title Eliminator Tournament. So in a way, this could have been a round 2 matchup, assuming that Sonny Kiss is able to get past Kenny Omega, which I don't think he will be able to do so because, well, I mean, this tournament seems built for Omega Hangman in the finals at Full Gear. But before we get to Full Gear, which is November 7th, we will be just ending Bound for Glory. And Bound for Glory is the pay-per-view that is coming up this weekend. It's going to be a banger of a pay-per-view, I think. And here we have the go-home show for Impact. So this was not a lot of matches, a lot of promo videos, and I like that. I like that for go-home shows. I think one of two things should happen on go-home shows. Either there should be something really, really big, or you do promo videos. You push, you just remind people of what they're getting at the pay-per-view, whether it's Saturday or Sunday. This is a Saturday pay-per-view. You just remind people, hey, this is what's going to happen. Unless you're going to do something big like a contract signing that ends in a brawl, or just a brawl in general, or you're going to do some twist on the tail that gets people, that's a little bit more of a hook. But in this situation, they've already built all of the matches as pretty much as far as they need to be built. We know what we're getting. We know who the good guys are. We know who the bad guys are. We know all the wrinkles in the story. So I'm not going to go anything crazy over the matches themselves, but I'm just going to do more of a preview, in a sense, of what I think is going to happen at Bound for Glory. But I will talk a little bit here and there about the matches. So just to get the matches actually out of the way really quickly, we have, I think, what was it, 5? Yeah, 5 matches. The first is this... the 5 people who won the previous 10-man tag match last week, they now face off. The winner gets the 20th spot in the gauntlet. That person is Hernandez, picking up a win here. Strong work here for Hernandez. I don't think he's winning the gauntlet, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. After this, there is Rosemary defeating Havoc. A quick match. Rosemary, as we know, is trying to get Father James Mitchell back for the wedding. She needs to be able to beat Havoc to do so. This was kind of a gimme match. We know that that's going to happen, so Rosemary picks up the win here. Then later in the night, they have Sami Callihan defeating Eddie Edwards when Ken Shamrock shows up, and I've put in my notes now Shammy. That's my name for Sammy and Shamrock. To build ahead of the match that Eddie's going to have with Shamrock at Bound for Glory. Then there was the 6-man tag match where TJP, Trey, and Willie Mack beat Chris Bay, Jordan Grace, and Rohit Raju. Easily the match of the night, considering there wasn't that many matches. But here, Trey picks up the win and gets the most momentum going into that 6-person championship scramble match for the X Division Championship. And in the main event, the Good Brothers in the North went to a no contest, and the show itself is going to end with the teams kind of staring down each other, and then the Good Brothers attacking Motor City Machine Guns. I guess maybe turning heel? I guess maybe that's the way to look at it. Even though they've kind of been working as tweeners, almost heels this entire time, I think this might be the actual moment where they really did kind of turn heel in that sense. Okay, so let's break down our match card for Bound for Glory and kind of just give an idea of what we think is going to happen. I will say they did really great promo videos for almost every single match for this, and great backstage interviews as well. The backstage interview with EC3, where they kidnap Jimmy Jacobs and bring him to an undisclosed location that looks a lot like one of the Impact Zone's production trailers. That was really good. The conversation with Eric Young, also good, but with Gia Miller. And the Kylie Ray backstage interview kind of vignette, that was solid too. Okay, so right now we currently have 7 matches listed for Bound for Glory, starting with the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. I think this is kind of Heath or Rhino. I feel like they have to win this. I think it's building that, like if neither of them do, Rhino's fired. So I think it's kind of an obvious one, and it starts the night off really nice with Heath getting that moment of I now have a contract. After this, we have Eddie Edwards versus Ken Shamrock. I think this is an Eddie Edwards win here. EC3 versus Moose. I'm going to get to that one later, actually, because that's I think going to be my match of the night. But Rohit Raju, Chris Bay, Jordan Grace, TJP, Trey Miguel, Willie Mack, that 6-way scramble match. Honestly, I think Rohit Raju continues his reign. If not Rohit Raju, I think Trey Miguel picks it up. It's just one of those things where maybe Rohit is a transitional champion, but if they wanted to do something cool, they could keep him as a non-transitional champion and give him a little bit more of a runway with the X Division title, because he is really solid as a smarmy chicken shit heel, and it kind of gives away what I think happens in the main event, which I think should be a little obvious, but maybe they don't go the obvious route. That's something that we don't always see happen. Next, we have a match that Impact is almost treating as the real main event, which is the 4-way tag team match for the Impact World Tag Team Championship. I think the Good Brothers picked the win out here. Sorry to the North. I don't think you're getting your titles back anytime soon. And Motor City Machine Guns, it's been great having you here. You'll be here for a rematch maybe with the Good Brothers after they pick up the win. Then we have Deonna Purrazzo defending against Kylie Ray. I'm going to pick Kylie Ray just simply because I'm the homer. And I think Kylie guts out a win here, and we set up something. Maybe Susie has an appearance at the pay-per-view. Maybe we'll see what happens. That's something where it can go many ways. Like we've talked about it before. They have set up credible challengers for either Deonna or Kylie should either one of them win. Then in the quasi-main event, Eric Young versus Rich Swann. I think Rich Swann picks up the win here. They built this story of Rich Swann being the underdog champion, underdog uncrowned champion, almost the Daniel Bryan in a sense. They're kind of doing something similar to that. For Rich Swann at least, it's something similar to that underdog. Everybody counts me out, but I continue to show up. I continue to show and prove I can do this mentality. And then finally, in the match that I think is going to be the match of the night simply because of presentation, EC3 versus Moose. This is going to be Moose's first match back. I think EC3 is picking this win up. I think it's going to be a really good match. I think they're going to do some really interesting things when it comes to how it is portrayed, how it is presented. Just everything that involves EC3's character, really, really solid. Moose has been doing yeoman's work when it comes to portraying a deranged, so not deranged, but like somebody who's been driven insane. That is really, really good on his part. So looking forward to the pay-per-view. I will be on the roundtable with Sid, I think Chris, and Ness. I think we're still hammering out who will be on that roundtable, but that roundtable will be happening. We will be talking about everything that comes out of Bound for Glory. But that's all for Bound for Glory. That's all for Impact Wrestling. We got to move on to NWA on UWN Live. Now, this was a kind of quick show. There's also a few matches here, but really great progression of a storyline throughout the course of a night. I like that about it. So here, really quickly, we're going to go through these matches. Max Caster picks up a win over Jesse James. We've seen Caster before. This was kind of a nice match where Caster is targeting the arm. He knows that Jesse James has a lariat, and so he knows that this is what he's going to target. And strong work here with Caster to continue to work the arm and pick up the win there. Kind of a old schooly kind of match. I kind of liked it. After this, they reveal the brackets for the for the UWN title. I'll get to that a little bit later because that I think has bigger ramifications for the show and where I think they're going to be going. So then after that, they have Miranda Alizé versus Christy James. We've seen Christy James on AEW Dark. So there's that, back and forth between the two promotions. We're seeing some cool work being done there. And Miranda Alizé picks up the win here over Christy James. After this, we have a Pope promo. Remember, he's got a title match at the end of the night up against Zicky Dice for the NWA United States for Television Championship. And solid promo here from Pope. We saw everything that happened last week. Getting spit on just doesn't. You gotta root for Pope, and that's kind of what they're building. They're building this throughout the night. Next, we have a Mike Bennett promo. We are going to have some. It's good to see Mike Bennett back. It's good to know that he is going to be continuing his time in the National Wrestling Alliance when it comes to the UWN stuff. That's really cool. He has a match later with JR Kratos. I know nothing about JR Kratos, so we'll see what we learn there. After this, they have a tag title match. SoCal Distancing retains over the Friendship Farm. I don't know how exactly they're determining title shots. That's something I'd be interested to know. And then after this, we have Mike Bennett defeating JR Kratos. And finally, in the main event, we have Elijah Burke, the Pope, in under 6 minutes and 5 seconds, because this is a TV title match, so they're still following that 6:05 rule, which I think is phenomenally cool to keep that up, even though now they're not, one, airing from Georgia, and two, they're not actually starting airing at 6:05 anymore, right? So I think that's cool. It's a weekly pay-per-view now, but they're still keeping that aspect of the title, which I hope means they're going to keep that 7 title defenses. You can go for a world title shot. That'll be cool. And Pope's promo afterwards is really strong. I think was very well done. He is commenting on just the times that we live in and the uncertainty that's going on, and knowing that there was uncertainty with the title, there was uncertainty with the NWA, but the NWA is back, and he is going to be helping to keep that momentum going forward. Strong work from Pope. But let's talk about the United Wrestling Network World Championship that they're going to be determining soon, and this bracketology, if you will. So they've announced the 8 people. They are Eric Redbeard, formerly Eric Rowan from WWE, Watts, who we've seen on AEW and we have seen on UWN previously, Chris Dickinson, Peter Avalon from AEW. We'll get to that in a second. But then we have Carl Fredericks versus Fred Rosser, some New Japan stuff going on here, Davey Boy Smith, MLW stuff with Mike Bennett. Okay, so obviously I think this tournament is set up for Dickinson, and I think it's set up for Bennett on the other side of the bracket. Bennett is a white-hot babyface when it comes to his previous encounter with Nick Aldis for the world title. I think they're going to be pushing him. If not him, then maybe Fred Rosser. Fred Rosser, also a strong babyface. Not that Carl Fredericks isn't, but Fred Rosser, because of that Darren Young previous, formerly known as with the WWE, he's a little bit more known with audiences, we'll say. So I think it's a Bennett or Rosser on one side, on the right-hand side of the bracket. On the left-hand side of the bracket, Dickinson's about to blow everybody out of the water and destroy them, starting with Peter Avalon. And that's where we're talking about synergy. It's coming back again, guys, every single week. And I like it. I love it. I want more of it. It's where we're having Peter Avalon, who is an AEW contracted talent. Contracted talent. Before, we've seen people who've shown up on Dark. This is an actual person who has a contract with AEW being booked for the United Wrestling Network, and I think that's really great. I like that. I like the fact that they are using him. Peter Avalon is somebody who doesn't get his due, so let's see what he is able to do in this match. I think it'll be a good match. I think that's happening next week, so that'll be really fun to see. And I think it's Dickinson versus either Rosser or Bennett in the finals. I'm leaning towards Bennett just because he's even the bigger name than Rosser, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. One thing we will know is that no matter what happens, we will be with you every step of the way, as we always are on Dark Power. Once again, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with us every time we put up a new video, whether it's myself, whether it's Wednesday Night Warriors, whether it's Going Raw with Drunk Guy JJ. Any of the videos that we do, thank you guys for always supporting us. We appreciate it. We love hanging out with you guys and you inviting us into your homes or your phones or your tablets or phones, computers, tablets. I think that's everything. But however you are watching us, you could be listening to us via audio. That happens as well. So however you are getting this content, we appreciate you guys spending time with us. Until next time, until we have until Chris Dickinson destroys Peter Avalon and says, "Where's my competition?" Even though they got him somebody from AEW to face. Until the next time, we have a 12-match AEW Dark, and until the next time when we will see each other, which we will know who our champions are on Impact Wrestling. This is Stat King signing off, and I'll catch you guys.